My name is Saterbak, and I'm an engineering faculty member at Duke University. This video is about pathway or process decomposition. So pathway or process decomposition is about pathway decomposition breaks down a project by the flow or steps. Pathway or process decomposition often tracks the movement of material, information, or energy. You can think about process or pathway decomposition by thinking about the time or the order in which things happen, or a physical space. So for example, you needed to go to the hospital to have a surgery, right? There are particular times that you move through that process from check-in to discharge. In addition, there are physical spaces that you move into that are different throughout that process. Again, if you think about this as a pathway or a process, and this can often be a useful way to break down a complex engineering problem. So when you think about breaking things down by the steps, you can think about this from a process perspective, where there's a series of operations and the order of those operations really matter. So the steps in a process decomposition matter. So you can think about a process as a series of operations, where the order really matters, 1 before 2 before 3. You could also think about this from a user perspective. Let's suppose you were designing an app for a phone. You needed to click on one button to get to the next screen, and then to the next screen. So the sequence in which you do things matter. We're going to talk about process decomposition in a number of examples. The first is an overview of the Rainforest XPRIZE project that we'll discuss in a different video. Here, one of the many challenges is that you need to take photos in the jungle. You can break this project up into a series of steps that includes flying through the forest, dropping off a camera to take pictures, retrieving that camera, and then returning back to base. In a more process or chemical engineering example, you can think of converting a chemical X to a chemical Y. You might first increase the temperature of X, then put that X over a catalyst to convert X to Y, and then finally separate the created product Y from any leftover X. In this series, right, first heating, then a catalyzed reaction, then a separator, these can form the basis for a unit operations design. So again, breaking this problem down into steps or series helps you to move forward in the design process. A third example would be that of a user interface. If you were designing for a cell phone, again, certain choices that you would make in the app would lead you down different pathways to different type of information. And then finally, you can think about functional flow. If you have a very large and complicated problem, you might think about ways to track energy, electricity, or matter through a complex system. There might be a series of choices, and, or if, or when, and or. It would allow you to trace or track a certain set of decisions through a complicated process. But each of these pivot points might become a design challenge, or each of the places that you travel while moving through this functional flow might also become its discrete design challenge. So pathway or process decomposition is used throughout design. It can help you think through some of the different actions or functions that your device or design may need to perform. It can also help you think about kind of the space or the time. Like for example, if you were designing a new way to have people move through a hospital emergency room, right? This idea of process or pathway decomposition might be very helpful. And again, it is another way that you can successfully decompose large, kind of complex projects into discrete, bite-sized design chunks where design teams can come in and tackle those projects. In summary, pathway or process decomposition helps you to break things down by different steps or by a flow and a process. It allows you to track the movement of materials, information, and energy.